Steelers fall to 2-6 heading into a bye week.
Losing is never easy. We got to get it fixed and get back to it.
The state that we're in, man, we got to put our heads down, work hard, and stay together as we grind our way back to respectability.
Well, here we go, folks. Fires for the end zone, touchdown, George Pickens!
The guys that we have just starting to play some really damn good football.
This is where legends are made, Billy. Gets the snap, he looks, steps out of a tackle, throws it for the goal line, touchdown, Najee Harris!
We're hungry to win. We're all hungry to go get a championship. We're looking forward to making that leap, and we got a lot of work to do.
When you look at the Steelers this offseason, they have done a lot of business.
The Pittsburgh Steelers select Broderick Jones.
Joey Porter Jr. The things that made you viable in the past aren't going to be the things that make you viable moving forward, because that's this game.
That's the way to work. Come on. He's hit and sacked. The Steelers win the football game. Let's go! Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missy Matthews. After a strong finish to the end of the 2022 season that almost landed them in the playoffs, the Steelers have a different feel about them this year. Coach Tomlin noticed it at the start of training camp, and it was evident in their preseason performance as well. Now it's time to find out if it's for real. To help recap a very busy offseason before tomorrow's home opener, let's welcome in Bob Pompeani, who's standing by with Coach Tomlin. Bob.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. It's finally here, week one of the NFL season, and what a marquee matchup to start for the Steelers as they host the San Francisco 49ers, a team that got hot last year, 10 in a row into the postseason. Mike Tomlin is here. I know you look forward to this. How amped are you, especially after your preseason?
I'm always amped for the start of the season. Preseason ball withstanding. It's for real now, and we get to embark on this journey that we've been dreaming about, hoping for, and planning for, and so to get an opportunity to live it, particularly with this group, man, is exciting.
You guys had a very active offseason. You brought in a lot of new players. Draft looks outstanding. Give us your thoughts about this offseason, what you needed to take care of and how it worked out.
We built our team primarily through the draft, so that had our attention in the development of those guys, and really excited about the collection of talent that we've been able to assemble. Broderick Jones, Joey Porter Jr., Benton at defensive tackle, Washington at tight end, Herbick at outside linebacker. All of those guys appear to be poised to have growing levels of contribution over the course of this journey. But probably more exciting than that is the free agent acquisitions we've been able to assemble. Guys that are veterans, guys that are not new to this level of ball. They might be new to Pittsburgh, but are very capable guys, and we got examples of that all over. Isaac in the offensive line, Allen Robinson at receiver, and then splattered throughout the defense, inside linebacker. Can't say enough about E-Rob and Holcomb and Quan Alexander in the secondary, Pat P. And so we just got a nice collection of guys who have NFL experience that might be new to us. And I'm equally as excited about their infusion and the contributions that they may bring as I am the draft guys.
Coach, last year you finished very strong, 7-2 record, predominantly running the football first. Philosophically, is that still the way you want to go? Or now that you have Kenny Pickett in year two with this entire offseason with him, do you change that? Do you tweak it in any way?
We always want to be able to control the line of scrimmage, and that's what you're talking about when you're talking about running the ball effectively. It just opens so many other things up. Obviously, Kenny's in a different place this year than he was a year ago in terms of his maturation, and we're going to call on that. We're going to ask him to make more plays, but it doesn't mean that we're willing to compromise anything from an agenda standpoint in terms of controlling the line of scrimmage.
And your offensive line, essentially you have two guys left over from 2021. You've made some changes and upgrades. And Isaac Seumalo is a guy who seems to have a positive impact on a guy like Dan Moore. Playing alongside of him, what does it mean?
He's just a grizzly veteran, man, a guy that's been there, done that guy. A guy who's really good at his job, man, really good in one-on-one circumstances, interior dominant rushers, and obviously we got a couple significant ones in Armstead and Hargrave this week. Really excited about what he brings, man. He brings a calm and steady demeanor to his work as well.
All right, you have some X factors, I think, on offense. We've seen Connor Hayward can be utilized in a different way, and you finally got to see Calvin Austin. Every time I saw you in the preseason, you were smiling at his returns and what he can bring. What are your expectations from those two guys?
We're talking about the supplementary pieces when you talk about those guys, the guys that might not play every down but could factor big in terms of how a game unfolds. And we just really feel good about all of our supplementary pieces and their development within what we do. Connor's a second-year guy, and so it's reasonable to expect him to take a significant step in terms of what he's able to provide us. Obviously, we're excited about getting Calvin on the field. Although he's a second-year guy, it'll be his first year playing. And then you look at guys like Darnell Washington at the tight end, who is a secondary piece that has a definitive play demeanor in his run blocking and the things that he's able to do there. Jalen Warren as a runner. And so we really feel good about our supplementary pieces and the depth that they're able to provide our attack and the different skill sets that they bring. Anthony McFarland. So there's a lot of guys to discuss in that subject matter.
You mentioned Darnell Washington. I remember at training camp asking him, would he rather score an offensive touchdown or pancake someone? He didn't hesitate by saying pancake someone. Is that his demeanor all the time?
That has been his demeanor. That's what made him attractive on college tape. That's what he did in Athens, Georgia, and he has a skill set to do. But make no mistake, I don't think any of us would be disappointed if he's scoring touchdowns.
Kenny Pickett, you mentioned him. You made him a captain, an offensive captain, and that was a change compared to what you had last year with Najee Harris and Mitch Trubisky. What have you seen in him to make you confident that he is the guy to lead everything?
Well, his teammates made him captain. We vote on captains, and I think really it's just an indication of his maturation process and where he is, that his team thought so highly of him. It is obviously not any disrespect to a quality leader like Naj and guys that were asked to lead a year ago, but I think more than anything, it just reflects the maturation and the readiness of Kenny.
One final thing in the preseason, they went 5 for 5, first-team offense, scores touchdowns. Would you have liked more time with them, or you get to a point where you see what you see and you take them out?
No, the objective is to score, and so I'm not going to complain about us scoring efficiently and quickly.
All right, well, hopefully that'll continue this week. It's a tough assignment. San Francisco comes to town. When we come back, we'll talk to Coach Tomlin about the 49ers, and they have a lot of skilled players that are problematic as well. We'll get into that when we come back. Missy, back over to you.
It'll most definitely be a tough test right out of the gates, Bob, but luckily it'll be in the comforts of Acrisure Stadium. The Steelers are opening their season at home for the first time since 2014. Coming up later in the show, we sit down with second-year wide receiver and viral catch machine George Pickens to talk about his incredible playmaking ability. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Nick Bosa, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, signed a new deal just a few days ago, so there's no question he'll be here in Pittsburgh for Week 1. Bosa, however, isn't the only star player on a roster that had major carryover from the San Francisco 49ers NFC Championship appearance last season. Let's get a scouting report from Coach Tomlin and Bob.
Hey, Missy, thanks very much. San Francisco, a team that won 10 straight at the end of the season, got all the way to the NFC Championship game, but they had an injury to their quarterback. Coach, let's talk about Brock Purdy. He's back. What did you see from him last year as a 7th-round pick to get the opportunity, and boy, did he take advantage of it.
It really probably predates last year. He's one of those guys that's, was a 4-year starter at Iowa State, man, brought a certain level of maturity and experience to his position, much like Kenny in terms of his experience that he brought from Pitt. And so guy played a lot of football, and I think when I look at his play last year, I think that's probably what stands out to me more than anything. He showed the maturity that Kenny showed, and he had a resume that was very similar, very different maybe than some of the younger guys who are drafted on the upside, the Wilson kid from BYU a couple years ago, Trey Lance, the kid from Florida this year. We're talking about guys with 3- and 4-year bodies of work at the collegiate level. And I think that experience is an asset to them when they get on the pro playing surface.
They have a lot of skilled players as well. You could break it down and start in their backfield. Christian McCaffrey is what he is, one of the few guys to have 1,000 yards rushing and 500 receiving in the same year. Not too many have done that. He's done it 4 times. You got Elijah Mitchell. What is your concern with their backfield?
You know, it starts and ends with McCaffrey. No disrespect to Elijah Mitchell or anyone else for that matter, but his presence is significant. Prior to acquiring him last year, they were averaging 20 points a game. After acquiring him, they were averaging 30 points a game. They went from 20th in the league to 2nd in the league in scoring. And so that's the impact of Christian McCaffrey. And so we better be ready to deal with him in the running game. We better be ready to deal with him in the passing game. He is a significant component of what they do.
You talked about your inside linebackers. You kind of redid the entire room. I would imagine George Kittle was a good test for them. What's he bring? What do you have to do to kind of stop him from being effective?
You know, we're going to keep our inside linebackers away from Kittle, man. Kittle has made his reputation on eating on linebackers. High-end safeties like Minka and people like that work to minimize him in the passing game, man. He is one of the very best at what he does in the business, in that same company as Kelsey. Their run after is what makes them really unique. They get open, they create separation at break points, and when they catch it, man, they're dynamic in the run after game. And so it's a safety's job, no doubt. We got to be smart, particularly on possession downs and in the red zone. This guy's a big component of what they do.
Let's switch over to defense. It all starts with them with Nick Bosa. He is their version of T.J. Watt. Dan Moore has progressed, and I assume the experience he's got in 2 years has helped him. But what kind of matchup problems does that guy present?
First, it's not just a Dan Moore problem, man. They're so multiple in their fronts, man. It's a Chooks problem. It might be an interior guard problem. The fluidity in which they have shown the ability to move him and other pieces in their front is a component of what makes them so challenging. But Bosa, man, he is a big-time playmaker. It's never a one-man challenge when you're talking about a guy like that. Not many opportunities where you see TJ in one-on-one circumstances, and so you should assume the same regarding Bosa. But those guys are who they are because they routinely win in one-on-two circumstances. And so that being said, just because we apply additional people schematically to minimize his or guys like him's impact on the game is still a big-time challenge. That's why he is who he is.
You guys drafted Hargrave, and you know what he was capable of doing as a third rounder. He progressed nicely, and now he signed a big deal with them. Did you see that sort of success in his future when you drafted him third round?
No question. Boy, you're talking about a dynamic guy, an oversized athlete, a guy that's reputation has been really consistent at any point in his journey. I think he had 35 or 36 sacks at college, and I don't care where you play or what level you play at, that's significant. Kevin Colbert and I watched him firsthand up close down in Mobile. When he came out, he showed up at the Senior Bowl, and those skills were very evident. It's been evident wherever he's been. It was evident here and in Philadelphia, and that's why they signed him to the contract that they signed him to.
You saw some quick strikes from your offense in this preseason. Can you expect that in the regular season? They do have some great talent in that secondary.
You know, that's
Hufanga leads the way.
Yeah, that's going to be our intentions. You know, we're going to be aggressive, appropriately so, in terms of how we play moving forward. Understanding that they're very good at what they do, and part of being very good at what you do defensively is keeping a lid on it. And so we got to proceed with caution. But when you're pursuing greatness, risk-taking is a component of it, calculated risk-taking, and that's what you're talking about when you're talking about drawing up big plays, specifically schematically.
All right, Coach, we'll be back with the keys to the game coming up. It's San Francisco and Pittsburgh, 1 o'clock at Acrisure Stadium. For now, let's send it back to Missy Matthews.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Tomorrow will mark the 4th time that Pittsburgh and San Francisco have met on kickoff weekend, but the last time these two teams met was in 2019 at Levi Stadium. It marked Minka Fitzpatrick's first game in the black and gold, and it didn't take long for him to show some Minka magic, picking off Jimmy Garoppolo in the first quarter. Straight ahead, we catch up with number 14 about the Steelers' offense and his year 2 jump. But now it's time for the Inch Chat trivia question. Who has the most rushing touchdowns as a Steeler in a single game versus the 49ers? D'Angelo Williams or Jerome Bettis? Find out after the break.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Your Yins Chat trivia answer is D'Angelo Williams. He had 3 touchdowns in Week 2 of the 2015 season. Battle the rest of Steelers Nation by answering trivia and making game day picks for your chance to win signed jerseys, helmets, and footballs exclusively on Yins Chat presented by Unibet. From the moment the Steelers drafted George Pickens, it seems like he has a knack for going viral. He quickly built a bond with Kenny Pickett during the rookie season that helped produce some of those great moments. Among quarterback-wide receiver duos last year, Pickett had the 3rd highest passer rating when targeting Pickens, according to Next Gen Stats. And as I found out this week, they're not done yet.
It is caught by George Pickens. You've got to be kidding me.
We had to look good. We had to play good.
Man, that kid has got some good hands.
Pickett to Pickens.
Pickett to Pickens, as we like to say, Billy.
Fires for the end zone. Touchdown, George Pickens.
George, take me all the way back to your exit interview after your rookie season with Coach Tomlin and just the discussions that you guys had.
It was really just like being routine in everything you do. So like that's blocking, you know, running the right route, just, you know, being scheduled for everything you do for real.
And how did you approach that this offseason to come in and be ready to improve on those things in year 2?
Yeah, the biggest thing I did in the offseason this year was probably just run after catch. Like I was doing a lot of mostly like running back drills. Like the beginning of the offseason, I trained all the receivers. We went to Miami and through with Kenny.
Right.
And then after that, that's when I kind of started that regimen, just working on run after catch.
What was that like when Kenny says, guys, hey, here's where I'm going. You guys are, all the skill players go and you guys just have time to yourselves?
It was really just a great thing, just have time to ourselves, like you said. The camaraderie kind of boosted everything. Guys like Dez, Tay, Calvin, we were all there. And it wasn't like, you know, we got to be here or be there. So we could just have a little fun a little bit. And that was just great to see just out of all the guys being there.
So having that this offseason, OTA's mini camp, get to training camp, did you guys find an identity as an offense?
Yeah, I'll probably just say more composed for real. That was like the biggest identity me personally took from it. And that was just because all the guys were just, you know, laid back, chill, and they were doing their assignments like, you know, pretty efficiently than it was last year.
Training camp, some of your crazy catches, they start to go viral. Take me through the ones that you know you have on your phone and why you keep them, and do you watch them?
I don't really watch them as I used to, like when I was in college. But they're just like old archive videos that I got on my phone. The craziest things that I've done by just catching the ball has been like over the years now, like as a kid, like you said, high school, college. So I always have been like, you know, fun to, you know, making crazy catches. But as far as like me looking back at my phone, every once in a while, like if it pops up as a memory or if it brings to my attention, I'll probably watch it.
Lastly for you, just talk to me about San Francisco's defense. Not much has changed in terms of personnel this year.
Yeah, I'll probably just say they're a real well-knit group. Like you said, with the guys that, you know, has nothing has changed, that comfortability, they probably feel very, very comfortable. I'll just say for us, you know, we'll probably just, you know, try to stick to what we do best. And they're coming at home to us, so it'll probably, you know, it's gonna be a tough matchup for them, I'll say.
To see our full interview, head to the Steelers YouTube page or simply scan the QR code below. Well, week 1 means a fresh start for everyone, but the Steelers most certainly will want to carry over some of those splash plays from the preseason. And to find out how they can do it, it's time for your keys to the game presented by your neighborhood Ford store. Let's send it over to Bob and Coach. Guys.
All right, Coach, let's talk about this matchup and some of the things you need to do. Like your team, San Francisco started slowly. I'm sure they want to jump on this as you do. You got 2 home games to start the season. How important is it for a fast start this year?
You know, we just singularly focus on this outing and what it is we need to do to win this game. And if you talked about winning this game from a key perspective, we got to tackle well. They got some of the best run-after guys in the NFL, regardless of position. Christian McCaffrey is probably the best running back in terms of run-after catch. Kittle's at tight end, Deebo Samuel's at receiver. And so the tackle component of play is going to be big. We can't allow them to dump a swing in the flat to Christian or to Deebo Samuels and allow them to absorb very little risk in doing so and get big gains. And so the tackle component is big for us on the defensive side of the ball. And offensively, when you're playing a defense like they are, that's splash play capable, that's really dominant like they were a year ago, it starts first and foremost with possession of the ball. We can't turn the ball over. We got to do a good job of maintaining possession of the ball and then minimize their opportunities for splash. And you do that by staying on schedule. You get behind the chains, you get somewhat one-dimensional. Defenses like theirs feast on those opportunities. And so those are some things that have our focus as we lean in on this game.
I thought your special teams were outstanding in the preseason. Danny Smith and his crew did a pretty good job there. What about your plans when it comes to returning, punts and kicks?
For us, we're excited about Calvin. We're excited about Ant Mack in the return game. But for us, our attention from a special team standpoint is this transition that we're going through and some of our core coverage people. We no longer have Derek Watt, Marcus Allen, Robert Spillane, Benny Snell, guys like that. Names that you heard, Arthur Millette, names that you heard quite a bit a year ago in terms of tackle producing on teams. And so we got somewhat of a new core group now to go along with Killebrew, who's obviously a returning guy. And so that probably has our attention about who is going to ascend within those ranks and provide consistent contributions from a tackle production standpoint.
Should be a great week one. Look forward to it. All the best.
Thank you.
All right. Head coach Mike Tomlin as they get set for the San Francisco 49ers. The game is on Fox, but after the game, you can switch over to KDKA Plus. Join me, Chris Hoke, as we break down the game, take you inside the locker room. That's all coming up after the game on KDKA Plus. That's going to wrap it up for Missy Matthews and head coach Mike Tomlin. I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks for joining us, and look forward to a big game day tomorrow at Acrisure Stadium. Have a good night.